Hey everybody, it's Will Hill from County 10. We're back with another tech tip. I think that's what we're calling it now, tech tips. We talked so much in all of these that we decided that it should be a tech tip instead of a tech Q&A with Wind River Internet and Patrick Adam Lawson. What is your title? General Manager?
Yeah, I'm the
General
executive manager, yeah.
Executive General Director, President. But Patrick is back with us to talk about tech stuff again this week, and we're going to talk about a pretty cool topic I really have a lot of fun with. We're going to talk about smart speakers and smart homes and all those devices. So as we go, if you've got any questions, anything you want to ask, does it come in pink? I don't know. So drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Even if you're watching this video after it's been live, drop those questions in the comments. We'll keep an eye on it for several days, see if we can get those questions answered for you. So, we're going to jump right into it. Smart speakers. So a while back, I had a friend who did a presentation in a classroom in Lander. And there were about, 15, 20 kids in the classroom. And he asked how many of the kids had smart speakers at home. And it was about a third of the class. And this was almost 2 years ago. And smart speakers have come a long way since then. And smart home technology has come a long way since then. And so if a third of them had them 2 years ago, it's probably a pretty good chance that a lot more have them now. I know about 2 years ago, I never would have had a smart speaker in my home. It wasn't my thing. I didn't want something listening or beeping or talking or any of those things. And then my boss at the time, shout out to Jason Kinsler, gave us Google Home Minis as a Christmas gift. And I didn't turn it on for a while. And then I finally did, and I got it set up. And I tell you what, it sits in our kitchen, and it is... it's fantastic. I mean, we use it for everything. Playing the kids listen to stories on it. The kids play games on it, verbal games like Mad Libs and choose your own adventure storytelling. I mean, all kinds of stuff. We ask it questions, ask it information. My wife is even getting used to it and has asked it for conversions for cooking and things like that. We play music on it, run apps on it. I mean, it's a central part of what we do all day now. So pretty cool. And our office at County 10 that's what we play all of our music on. We have the Google Nest cameras throughout the building, and it all runs through an app. It's a pretty fantastic setup, whether it's Amazon Alexa or Google Home or they all have them now. But we're going to talk about those today and share some stuff with you. If you don't know anything about these, if you've never had one, this will be a great introduction to learn a little bit more. So I'll shut up and we can get to our tech tip with Wind River Internet.
I looked it up and they do have it in pink-ish. It's called Corral, but it looks pink to me.
Nice. Yeah, that's pink. That's definitely pink.
Which is funny because in Google's phones, they call them actual colors, making fun of the fact that Apple always calls theirs like space gray and,
right.
So they do like simply blue or,
Simply blue. That's great. So tell us what's out there for the uninitiated. What could they find and what does it do?
So the smart speakers are pretty cool because they're actively listening for a keyword. And I'm not going to say it right now because it could trigger if you have one in your home. But Amazon makes the Echo, and you say a certain word that starts with A, and there's not one in this room, but it'll be like Google. You'll say, Echo, look up the weather, or in this case, we have a Google Home, which is the Google Assistant. So you just say, hey Google, what's the weather?
Currently in Riverton, it's 85 degrees and sunny. Today, it'll be sunny, with a forecasted high of 89 and a low of 55.
So the really cool thing is these are what they consider the Internet of Things device. So we're talking about a connected home. So it's listening. It's like in the old movies and stuff where you just talk to the computer like Jarvis or whatever, an Iron Man, and you'd be like, turn on the lights, turn on the living room lights. Or you can set up all your lights to be, it's bedtime, and it'll just turn off all the lights in your house. So you get these light bulbs for like $10, $15 that you put in, and you can create groups, and you can turn on and off the lights. You can have it programmed for certain times of the day, like if you're on vacation, so people will think you're home and there's no burglars. You can get doorbells, door locks, security cameras, all these things. And there's ones that are just sound speakers, and then there's ones that have a screen on them. Mm-hmm. And the ones with the screen, with the Amazon Echo, theirs is called the Show. It works with the Ring doorbell, and it'll show you who's at your door. And it works on your phone or the display, and it's just really cool, all the things that you can do. You can, I tell it to read me the news every morning while I'm cooking breakfast.
Yeah, I had for a while, until I kind of changed my morning routine. Every morning I would walk out and I would say what I'm not going to say, because it turns everything on, especially if you have a Google device too. Your phone will go off, everything will go off. And I had a morning routine set up, and it would tell me the weather, it would read me my schedule from my calendar app, and then it would read me the headlines and you can select what you want the headlines to come up from. And then it would start playing the music channel that I had set for it. So I absolutely loved that. Then I had it set to play the County 10 podcast. Shameless plug, if you haven't check it out on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And I had it set up to play the County 10 podcast so that I could listen to that the day after it was published. So they're pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, it used to be you'd have this big home hi-fi setup, big speakers, and now it's kind of more about convenience. Like, they're making these as small and convenient as possible, but you can do really cool things like them. Like I was saying, you can also group the speakers together. So these are only like $30 to $50 depending on which one you get. You can get bigger ones that are a couple $100. There's tons of different ones out there, but you can pair them so that they'll be all over your house, and you can tell it to play all over the house. And you could be, cleaning the house, and the same music is streaming. You can tie it to like YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Google Music, all these different services, Spotify, and really just call up any song you want at any time you want and play it. So there's no more, getting out the CD and putting it in the 6-disc changer and hitting random or.
Yeah, and I think in a recent, I may be wrong about this, but for a while, the Google speakers, you couldn't listen to podcasts on a multi-speaker channel like that, but I think they fixed it. And so now you can, you don't have to have your earbuds in if you're cleaning the house or doing whatever. You can, but you don't have to. You can play it on, if you have multiple speakers, and it'll play through your whole house. So,
Will, how do you tell it to listen to your favorite podcast?
Well, you say, "Hey Google, play the County 10 podcast."
Okay, the County 10 podcast on Google Podcasts. I'll pick up where you left off.
We're here in Wyoming, but once in a while, a show gets a little crazy. Be advised, the following show may contain explicit content that could be offensive to some listeners. We're all big kids around
Hey
here,
Google,
though.
stop. Of course, it picks up the one that has explicit content in it, but most of our podcasts are very family friendly.
Yeah, so that's the other thing too. Like it picks up where you left off. So you can be in one room listening to a podcast, then you go into another room, tell it to play the podcast, it'll pick up where you left off. It'll actually do multi-users, so it'll train to your voice. So it'll know. I'm not going to ask it because I could ask it to read my calendar, what I have on the schedule for the day, and it'll know it, which is pretty impressive.
At home, our kids fight over telling our Google Assistant what to call them. So I have it set up. I have it trained to my voice and nobody else's account, but they have they've taken over the name. So we have it. It's got an Australian female voice. and the kids fight over telling it, call me Eli, call me Liliana, call me, and so every morning I get up and I'll tell it to do something. It'll say, okay, Eli, okay, Marguerite, okay, on one of my kids' names. It's always something different. So it's a lot of fun. But if we did map it, all of our kids, if they asked it to do something, it would remember all of their preferences and what they've asked it to do in the past, which I'm not going to lie is a little creepy, but it's also incredibly useful. And I think there's a trade-off there.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that worry of like, well, I don't want Google listening to everything I say, but there's a lot of these take a lot of time listening.
Oh yeah.
And supposedly they only listen for the keyword, and then after the keyword is when they process audio. Mm-hmm. So I can't remember which device it has as a security, but I think there's a new feature where you can turn it on to listen for like glass breaking and notify you on your phone. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool. And there are I don't know about the Amazon device, but there is a microphone off button if you want to leave it plugged in so that it doesn't disconnect from your Wi-Fi, but you don't want it to turn on at all or the microphone to be open at all.
Yeah, if you're listening to music and you turn off the microphone.
Oh yeah, that works too. There was an incident a while back with this is maybe a year ago. I don't know, with Google Mini devices. The microphone was never turning off, and it was recording everything. And it was discovered, and it was, Google claims, an accident. And they fixed it, and you know. There's always issues with these things, but that is something to be aware. There are drawbacks to these devices. You need to know what you're getting yourself into. Right now, there's a lot of controversy because different, like Google and I don't know if Amazon is in this mix, but Google and some of the other companies that make these speakers, they send snippets of the information from Google Assistant and the different devices to contractors who will listen to snippets in order to refine all the different things that it does so that it works better. And if you don't want somebody in France listening to your voice, then don't get one. But these things now you can set up your Google Assistant if you have a device and you have Google Assistant on your phone. I set this up by accident. I used to have a Google Pixel. And I somehow turned on the Google Assistant answering assistant, and it would answer all of my calls, and it would ask the person, "What are you calling Will about?" And then it would send me a message and ask, "Do you want to take a call from Joe? He's calling about this and this and this." And I was like, "Well, how do I turn this off?" And so I did. I found it and turned it off. But you could set it to only answer calls that looked like spam, and that was always fun because you can tell it to say, "Don't ever call me again," or whatever. It tells them, "Don't ever call me again." You can set it to all these different things. I thought that was really useful and helpful. You can also have it in the newest iterations of the software. You can have it call and make appointments for you.
Oh yeah, the Duo. That's kind of creepy. Like you can say, hey, whatever, make me a hair appointment at 2:00 with so and so, and it'll actually call them, and it'll talk back and forth to them, and then let you know if it made the appointment.
Yeah, it's out there, but it can be useful. I use my Google Assistant on my phone driving all the time for look up this, tell me that, what's next on my calendar, all these different questions.
If you've got Bluetooth in your car, the app's free on iPhone or Android, and it works pretty well. You just open up the app and you don't need a device.
It's really nice. Directions, you can tell it to pull up directions to wherever you're going, and it'll pull them up so you don't have to sit there and pull over or do what you should not be doing and fiddle around with your map app while you're driving. Don't do that. But they're great. I really like them. The Internet of Things devices, things you can control with the speakers or by themselves. You mentioned the doorbells and door locks. I I don't know that we'll ever get one because I don't think my wife will like that. But I love the idea of having a smart door lock because I'm that guy that will be driving down the street and be 30 minutes away from the house and go, did I lock the door? And it'll eat me up until I have somebody go and check. And that's a terrible feeling. I know there are other people that are like, they'll be on a plane halfway across the country and did I lock the front door? Well, these apps will allow you to check and see if you locked the door and lock it if you didn't. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We got an August here in the building in one of my house. They're great. You can send virtual keys to people, so the phone is the key, and they're GPS aware, so when you just come close to it, it'll unlock, and when you leave, it'll automatically lock. And you can do temporary keys, so like if you're away, you need somebody to go feed your dog or your fish or whatever, you can go let them in to your house.
That's really cool.
As long as you got a stable internet connection at your house.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that a lot.
They're really cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of them too. Quickset makes one, Kivo, and that one's uses touch. It's like Bluetooth, and you touch it, and it unlocks.
Oh, nice.
Touching it. And there's Nest, which is Google's brand, and now. Oh, and I forgot about thermostats. Thermostats can be controlled by these things too. You can say, turn up the temperature, turn down the temperature. TVs, almost all the smart TVs that came out last year have Google Assistant built in or Alexa control built in, and you can tell them turn on, off the TV, pause the TV, switch the channel, launch an app like YouTube, or just straight up search for a video and start playing it. So that is really cool. Like we got a baby that we're taking care of, and get both hands full and be like, pause it or play this or that. So we've been having fun with that.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. It's really easy to.
They got
Excuse me.
Sprinklers. You can set up your sprinklers on there, so you can be like, I need to water the grass, or I'm watering the grass and it's raining, so I'll turn it off.
Oh yeah.
And so you can do that remotely through the internet. You can just tell Google to do that. Washing machines. I don't have a washing machine that does it yet. I don't have a sprinkler that does it yet either. I just know they make them. I don't know why you'd want it. I guess to let you know when the washing machine's done.
Yeah, a lot of these things, I really like the thermostats. I would guess the washing machines, things like that. The Internet of Things technology that's built into them, the smart technology, isn't as much about being able to control it with your voice as it's getting all this data and can tell you when your devices, your appliance is beginning to act up or not work efficiently. You can find out months before your refrigerator goes out, and we have a friend right now doing a remodel, and this always happens. You start a remodel and you work away on it, and then an appliance goes down, and then you've got to paint a different wall, and then you decide to not, all these things stack up, and their washer went out, and then their dryer went out, and they had to get new appliances, and you can't get new appliances right now, and with all the COVID manufacturing shutdown, and so, but they could have been notified that it's not working correctly well ahead of that time.
One of the things that we have that's really cool is they call it like a moisture sensor that you put on the floor, and it lets you know if there's a leak. So like if the washing machine's leaking, it'll tell you. And or the bathroom, or you put it around where the plumbing is, and it'll let you know before like your whole floor is ruined.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Some less useful but fun things is this microwave behind us is Alexa enabled, and
Let me grab it so you can.
I just said the word. But you can tell it, cook a 3.5 ounce bag of popcorn, and it'll cook it. Which, you got to go over to it anyways to put it in there, so that's not terribly useful, but it is kind of cool, like if you're hearing it popping, you can tell it to stop. That way you don't have to run across the room before you get burnt kernels.
That's immensely useful. That's not a small thing. With kids and everything going on in the kitchen, I can see that being, because we always burn the popcorn. There's always at least, if somebody makes popcorn, there's always at least one burnt bag before they remember, I've got to stand here and watch it. So really, really cool technology. I also I like for shopping or adding things to a list.
Oh, yeah.
I default to Google because that's what I use. But whatever you can sync apps with your smart speaker to order things for you. right away. If they used to have those. Amazon had those buttons that you would put all over your house and click if you needed more of this or click if you needed more dog food. Now you can just tell your smart speaker, send me more. And if you have it set up right, it has an auto order, and that stuff is just, it shows up a couple days later. Well, not now, and it might show up. We just got something, speaking of shopping online, I have to say this. We just got something at our house that my wife ordered in March, was just delivered to the house, just some clothing.
We ordered toilet paper during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, and it was like Chinese toilet paper, and it came in June, and it was small. Like the picture showed a stack of toilet paper, and it was like $20. I was like, oh, that's not too bad. And we get it, and it's this little tiny Ziploc bag with just these little tiny rolls of toilet paper. And I was like, oh man, that's just funny. And it's like single ply too.
That's really funny. So yeah, if you've got any questions out there, smart speakers or Wind River Internet stuff, if anyone wants to know when their house is going to be signed up, that's the question that we seem to get all the time.
Yes, we have 2 questions that are about Wind River Internet Service.
All right, well, let's take those.
All right, well, Lehigh has asked, why do I have a 300 ms ping and the tower is not that far from my place here in Fort Washakie?
That's a good question. We'd have to look at your account to see what the issue is, but there's a lot of variables. So there's the milliseconds in ping, that's the latency between whatever you're pinging and your device. So I'm assuming it's probably like your Xbox. And so there's a connection between your Xbox and your router. So you get so much milliseconds delay. The higher the number, the worse it is. Like 300 is not a great number. It's not a horrible number, but it's not good for like real-time applications like gaming. Like especially if you're doing like a first-person shooter. Wi-Fi in general, depending on a lot of variables. If you're connected to like 2.4 gigahertz radio, and there's a lot of other devices in there, that alone can give you like 50 milliseconds just inside the house before it even gets outside of the house. And then it goes from your house to the tower, and then you're looking at. We want to keep it as little as possible, but it's usually between anywhere from 2 milliseconds to 50 milliseconds there. And then once you get actually to like our server and you're going between our servers and Google or Microsoft, then there's a certain number of hops. So that usually adds, we're like 4 milliseconds to Google. So it's pretty minimal for there. But I know Xbox is a little bit longer. It's more like 20, 30 milliseconds. It depends on which server you're connected to because they got a lot of servers and how full that server is. But yeah, there's probably some kind of interference or obstruction in the signal somewhere along that chain. Anywhere in between where he's testing and where his device is. It could be directly in his house. It could be between the tower and him. Since he's close, it may not be between the tower and him. It may be an issue with somebody else in the area that's got a bad signal that's affecting his signal. So that's something to call our front office, and we'll make an appointment and we'll look at it. But my guess is it may be an issue with the tower, or it could be the issue with his equipment fell down due to strong winds or something.
A lot of different possibilities.
There's a lot of things, so it's not like one simple answer. But the short answer is call us. We'll get it fixed because that is higher than it should be.
Cool.
All right, well, Levi lives in Hudson, and he would just like to get a call back from a technician.
Oh.
He wants service, and he's been waiting for a phone call, so.
Well, I'll check into it.
We'll hook you up, Levi.
We'll hook you up. I know we are running a little bit behind since the whole pandemic started, and that's the other thing I'd like to point out. We're hiring, so if you love fast internet and you want to figure out how to get the best internet to people possible, shoot me an email with your resume. So you can email just pat.lawson@windriverinternet.com is me, and I'll look it over, and if it sounds like you'd be a good fit, for each other, then maybe we'll have you work here.
Great. I'm sure we'll end up doing a post on County 10 too.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. We'll put some details on a couple different positions that we have open here. But yeah, we need help. So we've got more people interested than we have people to work on it at the moment. So
That's a good thing.
That's a problem for a lot of businesses. I've been really surprised. A lot of businesses, local businesses, are the wait time is longer than it normally is because either manufacturing or whatever situation, and then just people wanting service, wanting product, wanting whatever, and waits are a lot longer, which really surprised me. So that adds to everyone's frustration, unfortunately, with between masks and distancing and wait times, and it's hard out there. So let's all take a deep breath together. That was pretty cheesy. We can't end on that. Come on. Somebody ask a question.
my watch is always telling me to take a deep breath. It's like, oh, you're stressed out. You should just take a minute and take a deep breath.
Well, that's a good function.
We could end with meditation.
There's an app for that.
And with some box breathing, 4 in and hold for 4. And 4.
Say, Alexa, play meditation music.
So cool. Well, if there aren't any more questions in the queue, if you're watching this on playback, drop a question or email us with a question at hello@county10.com. And if you're looking for work, email Pat. We'll have a post on County 10 about job opportunities here at Wind River Internet. And I'm sure that, did you drop an email in the comments?
No, but I sure will.
All right. Well, since you put it out publicly, now you're going to
Yeah.
get all kinds
Well,
of
he
emails.
did. I just didn't want to type it in wrong, like.
So, great. Hearing nothing else, we'll see you again next week with another tech tip.